So, good morning once again, ladies and gentlemen. I call the meeting of the General Committee on Democracy, Human Rights and Humanitarian Questions to order. Colleagues, the agenda for this meeting has been distributed. Could I please invite you to adopt the agenda? Are there any objections against that? If not, the agenda is adopted. Thank you, and let's start. Before the beginning, can I ask anyone speaking from a prepared text to hand that text to Secretariat in advance? Helping the interpreters in this way will make our meetings more productive and efficient. Thank you. May I remind colleagues that the election on committee officers for the 26th annual session of the Assembly will take place during the committee's final session on Saturday, the 8th of July. Yesterday, we debated the report and draft resolution prepared by our rapporteur, Mr. Hadjiani, on the theme of this year's annual sessions, which is enhancing mutual trust and cooperation for peace and prosperity in the OSCE region. We completed consideration of the first 6 amendments to the draft resolution and will now consider the remaining amendments. In discussing amendments, I will call for proposer of the amendments or amendments first, and then will call any opponent of the amendment. I ask speakers to observe a time limit on 1 minute. I will then ask the proposer of the draft resolution, Mr. Hadjiani, for his opinion. Following that, I shall put the amendment to the vote. So we can start. We start with amendment number 7. So I call Mr. Nagdalian, from Armenia to propose amendment. The floor is yours. Nagdalian. Miss? So.
Thank you very much.
Miss, yeah. Is Ms. Nagdalian here?
Mr. Urikhanyan will speak.
Is he or she here? Is somebody else who will speak against her? Okay, please, the floor is yours.
Thank you. First, we would like to thank the reporter for this very substantive draft resolution. My delegation will not make any proposal of deleting any para, and we will just try to complement draft resolution with help of all of you. Here we have proposed to include a new para in which we will express our concern over the situation of populations living in conflicts area. The draft resolution already contains members of references to different groups affected by conflicts. However, there is no any general reference to the populations living in conflict area. Yesterday, debate showed that human rights of people affected by conflicts is a very important topic, and we will call all our colleagues to acknowledge this fact in the resolution. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anyone wish to speak against amendment number 7? If not, what is Mr. Hadjiani's opinion of that amendment?
Vielen Dank. I will be in favor for this amendment, but I have to add something, not for the text, but as a general statement. In paragraph 32 is written about similar situations in the conflict areas, and also independent from which status is the occupied area or the crisis area. For this reason, anyway, I will be in favor of this amendment.
Okay, so I will ask you to vote about this amendment. Yeah, because, okay, who is for this amendment? Can we? Against? Abstentions? The amendment is adopted. It is right. So, shall we continue? Now we start to speak about amendment number 8. I call Mrs. Fry from Canada to propose amendment. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. As you can see, that we wanted to modify the paragraph 18 as to actually include in the lists discrimination against Muslims and prosecution of LGBT persons, because we believe that these minority groups are very much at risk from xenophobia and from other forms of discrimination, and we believe to leave them out would really not be important if you're looking at human rights and minority rights. I think our country has been very clear on both of those rights. Our Prime Minister has spoken out very clearly. Our position at the United Nations and everywhere has been in support of LGBTQ persons who are in many countries at great risk. They are being jailed, or they're being killed, they're being persecuted, and we believe that we have to speak out at the OSCE on some of these issues. And in many countries, we feel that there is a xenophobic fear, and we understand in Canada that you need to guard against terrorism on the one hand and security of persons on the other. But to stereotype a whole people because they're Muslims and to suggest that they are all terrorists is something that we want to speak against, and to support LGBTQ rights. And there are many countries, 70 within the OSCE region, who discriminate against LGBTQ persons. Thank you.
Thank you. And just now I want to ask, does anyone wish to speak against this amendment number 8? If not, what's Mr. Hadjiani's opinion of that?
I would be willing to accept this addition, yet I wish to point out that discrimination on religious grounds does not exclusively target Muslims, but also Christians and other, and other religions. Therefore, I would ask for consensus to add after the words against Muslims, the words Christians or member or of other religions.
I accept that. I think that's
Thank you very
reasonable.
Much. And
So,
of course, the part of for LGBT will remain as amendment.
okay.
Okay.
So shall we start to vote for the amendment number 8? Who is for? Yes. Please wait. We need, is anybody is here who is going to speak against this oral amendment which was done?
Is there any objection to it?
Are there any objections here? Can I? Yeah. Yes, please.
Our American colleagues, there is an objection?
Are there objections? No.
Now we consider the amendment.
Now we consider the amendment, this oral amendment, and we will start to to we will start to vote for this oral amendment. Can we repeat, please, this oral amendment to clearly know what we are voting for? Mr. Hajiani, please.
I will ask for consensus and add, after the words against Muslims, the words Christians or members of other religions.
Is it clear? Can we start to vote? So, please, who is for this amendment, start to vote. Is it? Who is against? Any abstentions? It was proved the amendment is adopted. So let's start to speak about amendment number 9. I call Mr. Smith from United States to propose amendment number 9. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. Let me make it clear that this works in tandem with amendment number 2, offered by my good friend and colleague, Mr. Allison of Canada. The working definition on anti-Semitism is absolutely essential. You got to know what we're talking about, the parameters of any abuse. On March 22nd, I chaired a hearing in Washington called Anti-Semitism Across Borders, and the special representative for the OSCE, Rabbi Andy Baker, testified and was most emphatic that without the working definitions guidance, we have seen how real attacks on Jewish targets are dismissed as politically motivated incidents, not as acts of anti-Semitism. I'd remind my colleagues that in 2016 at the OSCE Ministerial in Hamburg, 56 of the 57 participating states were prepared to accept the draft decision. Only one was against it. This now would call for the Ministerial in Vienna to take this up on December 7th and 8th and hopefully adopt it.
Thank you. Does anyone wish to speak against this amendment number 9? Not. So, what's Mr. Hajiani's opinion of that amendment?
I am in favor of this amendment because of the harmonization of definitions.
Okay. I shall now put amendment number 9 to vote. Who is for this amendment? Put your hand up. Yeah. Against? 1. Abstentions? The amendment was adopted.
Госпожа ведущая, разрешите
Yes.
небольшое замечание по ведению по 8-й
Да.
поправке. Вы поставили голосование устный вопрос, а в общем поправку, сформулируемую уже по итогам добавления устного вопроса, на голосование не вынесли.
Já скажу vám результаты. Сколько голосов?
Нет, вы вынесли устную поправку, которую добавил разработчик данного вопроса, а общую поправку по номеру 8 вы не поставили на голосование.
Vy говорите o amendmentě číslo 8.
Да.
A my hlasovali o tom ústnom amendmentě.
А саму поправку, после как мы добавили устный вопрос, общую поправку мы не поставили на голосование. В целом мы не проголосовали за поправку.
Vy hlasovali v tom amendmentě 8, который был дополнен с этим устным амендментом.
Нет. Мы проголосовали за добавление, то, что добавил разработчик, устное добавление по христианам. А в общем по поправке мы не проголосовали. Это не только от нашей делегации, но и от других делегаций, которые у нас находятся.
Спасибо. Мы договоримся здесь. Может, это быть моя ошибка.
Ну, нам бы хотелось бы вынести на голосование эту поправку.
Да.
Нам хотелось бы вынести эту поправку в целом.
Да. Uh, I would rather speak English than Russian. We are discussing with Secretariat, and it means that when we accepted this oral amendment, which was something which was done to the normal amendment, so we accepted whole amendment with this voting. Is it clear what I explained it just now?
Ну, нет, нам непонятно, мы не согласны с этой позицией. Мы поддержали поправку, когда было устную поправку по части внесения туда христиан и других религий, но мы однозначно против поправки в целом с упоминанием ЛГБТ. Поэтому просим тогда учесть, что наша делегация Российской Федерации голосовала против по этой поправке в целом.
Да, извините, минуточку, мы договоримся, и я вам скажу.
Просьба поправку перед голосованием полностью зачитывать, какую она формулировку носит.
Да. So, according discussion with Secretariat, we come back to amendment number 8. I will repeat that we accepted this oral amendment, which is in paragraph 18. After the word anti-Semitism, insert the following: discrimination against Muslims, Christians, and or other members of the other religions, persecution of LGBT persons. So we accepted only oral amendment. So just now we will vote, if you agree, on amendment number 8 in whole meaning, as I said just now. Do you agree with that we do it just now? Okay, so just now, to be clear, we are voting for amendment number 8 as a whole with oral amendment. Who is for this amendment? Raise your hands. Who is against? Please raise your hands. And abstentions, please. Okay, so the votes. So the votes were, can you give me the numbers, please? I will read the numbers for, against, and abstentions. For this amendment was 36 votes, 7 against, 4 abstentions, so whole amendment was adopted. I would like to apologize that we didn't vote for whole amendment the first, but we said we thought that if we accepted oral amendment that it is done. Sorry for that. So just, is it okay, the Russian delegation, is it okay? Спасибо. Now we will continue with amendment number 10. Yeah? 9? 9 was adopted. Number 10. I call Mr. Braikin from Russian Federation to propose amendment number 10. The floor is yours.
Спасибо, уважаемая госпожа председатель, уважаемые коллеги. Поправка 10, пункте 19, после слов «не допускать» добавить слово «незаконных». Главная опасность необоснованных ограничений исходит от исполнительной власти. Конституция стран обычно предусматривает возможность ограничения основных прав гражданского общества только законом или на основании закона, то есть актами, в процессе которых исполнительная власть прямо не участвует. Данная поправка будет отвечать принципам международного права. Благодарю вас.
Does anyone wish to speak against amendment number 10? Yes, please. Yeah. Dear colleagues.
It's the best way to counsel civic organization, non-governmental, or even parties by prohibiting them by law. Yeah. So if they are declared by law for illegal, so it's very easy to suppress them. We are now in a country where a lot of similar decisions had been made, and civic organization and non-governmental and even parties are illegal by decision of the parliament, but it's not democracy.
Thank you. What is Mr. Hajiani's opinion to that amendment?
Unfortunately, I cannot agree with the proposed amendment, as in the precise context. The word illegal is too abstract and in some cases may be interpreted in a arbitrary and abusive manner.
Thank you. So I shall now put Amendment 10 to the vote. Will all those of favor of Amendment 10 please raise your cards for that amendment? Against? Abstentions, please. So, 37, 7 were for this amendment, 37 were against, and 2 were abstentions. So, this amendment, number 10, is defeated. Now we start to speak about amendment number 11. I call Mr. Dobre from Romania to propose amendment 11. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Mrs. Chairman. I propose to delete the words "and the inclusion of state-sponsored non-governmental organization." Our explain is to avoid the possible support in the case of those states that are in favor of revising the existing ways regarding the events within the human dimension.
Thank you. Are there any proposals to against, or does anyone to speak against this amendment? No. What is Mr. Hajiani's opinion?
I see the point of the amendment, and I will accept it with one additional oral amendment. Actually, if we put away the phrase as it is in the amendment written, I will add, while noting that state-sponsored NGOs do not contribute to genuine dialogue.
Mm-hmm.
We have to write something here because there are many NGOs sponsored for states, and in this case, if we try to create debates, not just to have debates under the government and state-sponsored NGOs. We want to have dialogue on debate with open conditions.
Okay, accepted. I accepted it as an oral amendment. Is
I accept.
Okay. An oral amendment has been proposed.
Yes, I accept.
In paragraph 19, delete the following words and the inclusions of states sponsored by non-government organizations, and insert while noting that state-sponsored NGOs do not contribute to genuine dialogue. So, in accordance with paragraph 10 of Rule 22, of our rules of procedure. First, I will ask there whether in any objections to the oral amendment being considered. If there is any objection, the oral amendment cannot be considered. So I ask if is there someone who is against? No. So we start to speak about whole amendment. So does anyone wish to speak against the whole amendment? If not, we start to vote. I shall now ask those who want to support amendment number 11 with oral amendment, so whole amendment, raise your cards. Who is against? Abstentions? So there were 29 votes for this amendment, 4 against, and 5 abstentions. The amendment was adopted. Now we continue with amendment 12. Is it? Yeah, 12. I call Mr. Breaking from Russian Federation to propose amendment number 12. The floor is yours.
Благодарю вас. Поправки 12, в пункте 20 исключить следующую фразу. И гражданского надзора над вооруженными силами, военизированными формированиями, службами безопасности и разведки в процессе противодействия угрозам национальной безопасности. Почему? Таких обязательств в рамках БСЭ у нас нет, а сам посыл поручить гражданскому обществу надзор за вооруженными силами, разведкой и другими спецслужбами крайне сомнителен. Хочу отметить, что с 4 по 8 июля 1994 года на сессии ОБСЕ в Вене была принята резолюция «Политические вопросы и безопасность», пунктом 59, которой была подчеркнута необходимость создания и принятия кодекса поведения для цивилизованного использования вооруженных сил, демократического контроля за этим. Там же пункт 71 этой резолюции указывал, что система стандартов ОБСЕ должна основываться на международных правах, осуществления демократического контроля. И в том же году, в декабре 1994 года, на Будапештской встрече на высшем уровне глав государств и правительств, участники совещания по безопасности страны в Европе, принят кодекс поведения, касающийся военно-политического аспекта безопасности. В данном кодексе закреплена норма демократического контроля. Спасибо.
Thank you very much. Does anyone wish to speak against Amendment 12? Yes? The Ukraine, the floor is yours.
Dear colleagues, we oppose the amendment and propose to retain the original text of the paragraph. This position was already discussed yesterday, and civilian oversight of military, paramilitary security and intelligence services is envisaged by OSCE documents and is important for democratic accountability. And besides, I would like to remind all us that civilian oversight includes parliamentarian oversight. Therefore, we consider that this amendment should be cancelled. Thank you.
What's Mr. Hadjiani's opinion of that amendment? The floor is yours.
Unfortunately, I will not accept this amendment.
Okay. I shall now put Amendment 12 to vote. Who is for this amendment? Raise your cards, please. Against? Abstentions? So for this amendment were 6 votes, against 41, 2 abstentions. The amendment 12 is defeated. Now we start to speak about amendment number 13. I call Mr. Hildpold from Switzerland to propose Amendment 13. The floor is yours.
Oui, Margaret Kinner-Nellen, je remplace encore M. Hildpold aujourd'hui. Notre amendement vous propose d'insérer une clause invitant les États participants qui attribuent des contrats à des sociétés militaires et de sécurité privées à élaborer une législation nationale qui réglemente efficacement les activités de ces sociétés sur leur territoire et à l'étranger, sur la base de toutes les normes internationales en vigueur, en vue d'assurer le contrôle démocratique de cette industrie de la sécurité privée. Chers et chers collègues, cet amendement fait suite à l'amendement 5 que vous avez bien voulu adopter hier. Et je vous prie dès lors aussi d'adopter cet amendement-ci et vous en remercie.
Thank you very much. Does anyone wish to speak against Amendment 13? Yes, this is
Корниенко Алексей, Российская Федерация.
Russian Federation.
Мы предлагаем отклонить данную поправку в связи с тем, что она не относится к проекту принимаемой резолюции, тем более вот предыдущий докладчик сказал, что мы вчера поправкой 5 рассмотрели аналогичную поправку. Напомню, что Российская Федерация голосовала против принятия данной поправки. Спасибо.
Thank you. What is Mr. Hajiani's opinion to that amendment?
I am in favor of this amendment, and it is in the same philosophy as the amendment before. Actually, improve the control for security companies or bodies.
Thank you. I shall now put Amendment 13 to the vote. Those who are in favor, please raise your cards. Against? Abstentions? So results are 45 are in favor, 4 against, 4 abstentions. This amendment number 13 is adopted. We will continue with Amendment 14. I call Mr. Brekin from Russian Federation to propose Amendment 14. The floor is yours.
Я благодарю вас. В пункте 22 после слов «немедленно положить конец» добавить следующее слово «незаконным». Уважаемые коллеги, преследование тюремное заключение лиц, подозреваемых в совершении преступления или совершивших его законно, даже если это представители оппозиционных правозащитных организаций и другие представители гражданского общества. Мы должны следовать принципам и нормам международного права. Dura lex, et lex. Закон суров, но это закон. Спасибо.
Thank you. And does anyone wish to speak against Amendment 14? Please raise your hands. Yes, Slovak Republic, floor is yours.
Again, I said the same in a previous point where there was the word illegal. The most easy point to fight civic activities is to declare them to be illegal by law, and then you have a law which with you can beat them.
Thank you for your opinion. And just now I would like to ask Mr. Hajianis about his opinion.
As is the case for the proposed amendment to paragraph 19, I cannot agree with the proposal amendment. In fact, I can hardly see how harassment, mistreatment, and disappearance of political opposition could, in any case, be legal. Thank you.
Thank you for your opinion. And just now...
Позвольте вопрос автору.
Yeah?
Россия, Брыкин.
Russian, please speak.
Да, вы объясните, пожалуйста, мы где находимся сегодня? В демократическом обществе, где верховенство закона прежде всего. Если журналист совершил преступление общеуголовное, допустим, являясь журналистом, кого-то убил, что он не должен быть привлечен к этому? Вы о чем говорите, уважаемые коллеги?
Thank you for your opinion. Is anybody else who want to express something? No. No. It's, as Secretariat said, it's impossible. So I stop expressions and I start to vote. Please, who is in favor of this amendment number 14? Raise your cards. Against? Yeah. Abstentions? So results are 6 votes for this amendment, 45 against, 3 abstentions. This amendment is defeated. Amendment number 15. I call Ms. Kainer-Nellen from Switzerland to propose amendment number 15. The floor is yours.
Merci, Madame la Vice-présidente. Ici, il s'agit d'un rappel à la déclaration de Tbilissi, dans laquelle notre Assemblée, sur proposition d'ailleurs de notre commission, appelait les États participants à veiller à ce que les parlementaires puissent en tout temps exercer leur mandat, sans être menacés d'emprisonnement. Ce paragraphe que nous vous demandons d'amender ici s'inscrit donc en amont de la déclaration de Tbilissi et va au-delà des mesures demandant que les conditions de détention des prisonniers politiques soient conformes au droit international. Nous savons qu'il y a actuellement, par exemple, 10 membres du Parlement turc en détention. Je vous remercie de l'adopter.
Thank you. Does anyone wish to speak against amendment number 15? No. What is Mr. Hajinian's opinion?
I am in favor, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. So I shall now put amendment 15 to the vote. Who is in favor? Raise your card. Yeah. Against? Abstentions? So in majority of voting, this amendment was adopted. There were 45 for, 1 against, 1 abstention. Now we will continue with amendment 16. I call Mr. Turov from Russian Federation to propose amendment 16. The floor is yours.
Добрый день, уважаемые коллеги. Мы хотим подчеркнуть, что свобода выражения мнений, включая политическую сатиру или идеи, представляющие шокирующими или оскорбительными, должны полностью соблюдаться в соответствии как с международными обязательствами государств-участниками, так и с национальным законодательством. Поэтому считаем необходимым в целях соблюдения особенностей каждой из наших стран-участниц после слов государства-участников добавить слова «и национальным законодательством». Спасибо.
Thank you. Does anyone wish to speak against Amendment 16? Yes, the Ukraine. The floor is yours.
Thank you. Dear colleagues, as pointed out before, national legislation which is not compliant with international standards can severely restrict freedom of expression and other rights. So it is important to speak about international obligations. Therefore, we oppose this amendment and propose to retain the original text of the paragraph. Thank you.
Thank you for your opinion. What is Mr. Hajiani's opinion?
The right to freedom of expression is not always robustly guaranteed in the in the domestic legislation. For this reason, I am not, fortunately, I am not in favor of this amendment.
Thank you for your opinion. I now start to vote for amendment number 16. So, who is in favor? Please raise your card. Against? Abstentions? So there were 6 votes for this amendment, 46 against, 0 abstentions. Amendment number 16 is defeated. Shall we continue with amendment number 17? I call Mr. Cohen from United States to propose amendment number 17. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This amendment would build on the subject matter that we've got in the text we've got, but it would add emphasis to the fact that we shouldn't have criminal defamation, the opportunity for a state to imprison folks for words and ideas. It's antithetical to democracy and I think to what the OSCE stands for, that such should exist. And it's an opportunity for leaders to stomp on their opposition and imprison them, which is just the opposite of what we should be espousing in this world. It builds on statements from the OSCE representative on freedom of the media, the UN Special Rapporteur on freedom of opinion and expression, and the American States Special Rapporteur on freedom of expression. And I would ask for support and yield back the balance of my time.
Thank you very much. Does anyone wish to speak against this amendment number 17? Nobody. What is Mr. Hadjiani's opinion on this amendment?
I support the amendment.
Thank you. I shall now put amendment number 17 to the vote. Who is for this amendment? Raise your card, please. Against? Abstentions, please. So the results are 38 votes for in favor of this amendment, 7 against, 2 abstentions. This amendment number 17 is adopted. We will continue with amendment number 18. I call Mr. Engel from United States to propose amendment number 18. The floor is yours.
Thank you. This is Ms. Jackson Lee, who will offer the amendment for Mr. Engel, who is the ranking member on the Foreign Affairs Committee. I want to thank the gentleman, the rapporteur, for his language in paragraph number 26 that deplores attempts by some governments to suppress dissent and to control public communications. Mr. Engel's timely amendment focuses on drawing attention to the importance of academic freedom, threats to it from politically motivated interference and restrictions or retaliation, cooperation and exchanges in the field of education, one of the foundational elements of the Helsinki Final Act. Academic freedom is also essential for building strong and prosperous economies in an increasingly interconnected world. Academic freedom requires respect for the rights to freedom of expression, assembly, and association. We are better as a democracy when we are able to hear disparate viewpoints and there is no fear of repression, suppression, or incarceration. Regrettably, academic freedom is under threat in some participating states through a variety of means. In some cases, laws or regulations are being used to prevent institutions from functioning. Our young people are better when they have open debate. I ask my colleagues to support the Engel Amendment.
Thank you very much. Does anyone wish to speak against Amendment 18? The Slovak Republic.
Dear colleagues, in fact, I am not speaking again. I would only like to remind all of us on, for example, European tradition. I was one who proposed in our penal code so-called Auschwitz paragraph. There are scientists who are making science on the fact that gas chambers are fraud. There are other scientists that could make science on the fact that the races are not equal, that the white are more worse than black. All this could be academic freedom. And that's why I am not opposing, because I know that the ground idea of this proposal is totally okay. But the question is, what is science and what is academic freedom to teach us that the Nazis had been right?
Thank you very much for your opinion. And just now I would like to ask Mr. Hadjianis of his opinion on this Amendment 18.
I am in favor of this amendment.
Okay. I shall now put Amendment 18 to the vote. Who is in favor of this amendment? Raise your cards, please. Against? Abstentions, please. Okay. The results are 47 votes are in favor, 6 against, 3 abstentions. This Amendment 18 is adopted. We will continue with Amendment number 19. I call Ms. Nagdalian from Armenia to propose Amendment 19. The floor is yours.
I will speak one more time. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we are proposing to include in the text reference to conflict areas. Access of international human rights mechanism to conflict areas is very essential for protection of human rights. No any part of the OSCE should be deprived of international engagement aimed at protecting human rights. Parties to the conflict may have different views on the status of territories, but in the one thing they should be united, that is to give possibility to international human rights mechanism to access and monitor human rights situation in conflict areas. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Urighanian, who is speaking instead of Mrs. Naghadian for his speech. And just now I would like to ask if is there anyone who wishes to speak against this amendment? Yes, please. Azerbaijan, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The paragraph on the Constitution is carefully drafted and reflects the letter and spirit of relevant international instruments regarding the observation of international human rights and humanitarian law in time of armed conflicts. Therefore, we are against the proposal amendment and suggest adopting the paragraph as initially proposed by the rapporteur, Mr. Hadjiani. The conflict areas in the OSCE has certain peculiarities which need to be taken into consideration with regard to engagement of international community. It should always be in line with established international norms. We success in this context, the proposed amendment to the paragraph can serve to legitimization of illegality emerged as a result of occupation of territories. The noble notion of human rights can be in no way be misused to legalize situation prevailing in the occupied territories. Therefore, I call on my colleagues to reject the proposed amendment and adopt the paragraph as it stands now. Thank you.
Thank you for your opinion. And just now I would like to ask Mr. Hadjianis for Mr. Hadjianis' opinion.
After second thought for this amendment, unfortunately I will not be in favor for this amendment because in paragraph 32, we don't try to to change the status, the legal status of the area. And as it is written here with, in the report, in the resolution, without to write all conflict areas, it means we don't need to try to change the legal status. We need just to have access to all areas, independent from the legal status. And this is with the primary form of the text.
Thank you for your opinion. I shall now put Amendment 19 to the vote. So those who are in favor with this amendment, please raise your cards. Who is against? Please raise your cards. Abstentions, please. 3. So these are results. 2 votes are for this amendment, 44 against, and 4 abstentions. This amendment number 19 is defeated. Now we will continue with amendment number 20. I call Mr. Mamedov from Russian Federation to propose amendment number 20. The floor is yours.
Спасибо, уважаемый господа председатель, уважаемые коллеги. Мы предлагаем вообще исключить пункт 29, так как, на наш взгляд, он противоречит принципу суверенности каждого государства. По нашему мнению, в случае принятия данного пункта ОБСЕ предлагается давить на принимающие полевые миссии страны, что недопустимо. Только принимающее государство вправе решать, нужна ему миссия ОБСЕ в стране или нет. Уважаемые коллеги, просим поддержать нашу позицию. Спасибо.
Thank you very much. Does anyone wish to speak against this amendment number 20? 20. No one. So what's, or can you mention? Is anybody here who wants to speak against? Please raise your hand clearly. No. Thank you. So what is Mr. Hajiani's opinion of this amendment number 20?
I cannot agree with this amendment since paragraph 29 calls for increased efforts by the Ministerial Council to reach consensus regarding this matter, which includes enhanced consultations with the participating states concerned.
Thank you. I shall now put amendment number 20 to the vote. Please, who is in favor with this amendment, raise your cards. Who is against? Raise your cards. Abstentions? So here are results. 8 votes are in favor, 46 against, 1 is abstentions. So this amendment number 20 is defeated. We will continue with amendment number 21. I call Ms. Kiener Nullen from Switzerland to propose amendment number 21. The floor is yours.
Merci. La notion de groupe extrémiste n'est pas consacrée en droit international. C'est pourquoi il convient de parler de terrorisme et d'extrémisme conduisant au terrorisme. Ces notions se réfèrent à des groupes terroristes listés et armés, désignés en tant que tels par le Conseil de sécurité des Nations Unies, ainsi que dans les législations régionales et nationales. L'extrémisme en tant que tel n'est en effet pas nécessairement violent. Les menaces provenant de groupes armés désignés comme terroristes au Moyen-Orient, par exemple, sont en majorité dirigées contre des communautés musulmanes. Des minorités peuvent certes être spécifiquement visées. Toutefois, dans la région du Moyen-Orient notamment, en Syrie, pensez-y, grand nombre de conflits armés le sont entre communautés musulmanes. Je vous remercie d'adopter cet amendement.
Thank you very much for your speech. Does anyone wish to speak against amendment number 21?
Madam Chair.
United States, no, please.
Thank you. I would urge my colleagues respectfully to reject this amendment. Paragraph 34, I think, is a very well-written paragraph. I, for one, have been working hard on behalf of the Christians and the Yazidis, many of whom are in Erbil. I mean, if this legislation or this amendment was in addition to, but not in lieu of, perhaps that would be fine. But to replace it when we need to be focusing on war crimes that are being committed, crimes against humanity. I've had 9 congressional hearings that I've chaired in my Human Rights Subcommittee on the fact that there needs to be a hybrid court established to hold these people who commit genocide, who violate the Convention Against Torture, the Convention Against, obviously, Genocide, with impunity. And again, this paragraph number 34, I think is a very well-crafted paragraph, and I commend the rapporteur for including it. And I urge a no vote on the resolution.
Thank you for your opinion. And just now I would like to ask Mr. Hajiani, what is your opinion?
I would rather keep the initial paragraph that points at the very serious crimes committed by extremist groups against minorities and which underscores the impact of such crimes on the exacerbated refugees flows into the OSCE region.
Thank you for your opinion, and I shall now put amendment number 2. Oh,
Can I,
sorry.
just,
Sorry, I didn't see you.
Je voudrais suggérer comme amendement oral alors d'ajouter cette paragraphe comme on vient de le proposer, donc de garder le paragraphe 34 initial et d'ajouter donc le nouveau paragraphe comme prévu par Madame Kiner.
Yes, please, Switzerland.
Oui, je suis d'accord avec cette proposition de la Belgique de ne pas remplacer par notre amendement, mais de compléter. Comme ça, on a les 2 textes. Je vous remercie quand même, sous cet aspect, d'adopter notre amendement.
Yeah, so, yes. So, are there any the Slovak Republic?
I am opposing the oral amendment.
Okay, so because there are objections against, we can't vote for oral amendment. So we will vote for this amendment number 21 as it was written. So once again, we are just now voting for amendment number 21 as it is written. Who is in favor? Please raise your card. Who is against? Raise your card. Abstentions, please. So here are the results. 12 votes are in favor with this amendment, 31 against, 2 abstentions. This amendment, number 21, is defeated. Now we continue with amendment number 22. I call Mr. Dobre from Romania to propose amendment number 22. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Mrs. Chairman. I want to, our amendment make a little change, the human rights and fundamental freedoms for the purpose of realizing a wider reference person.
Is anybody here who wants to speak against this amendment? Nobody? What is Mr. Hajiani's opinion?
I would rather keep these words in the text, aim at highlighting in particular this person's rights regarding their participation in political life. I therefore ask for your consensus to also include fundamental freedoms, as it is the suggestion in the text, so that it reads, invites all participating states to ensure the human and civil rights and fundamental freedoms. I stay to include the word civil.
Shall I accept it as an oral amendment? Shall I, Mr. Hajianis, shall I accept it as an oral amendment?
Yes, please.
Yeah. So are there, or is here anybody who has objections against this oral amendment? No? So we will start to vote for this oral amendment. The oral amendment is, in paragraph 37, replace the word "and" civil rights with the following fundamental freedoms. Is it right like that?
I think is not exactly
Okay.
which Mr.
Please wait,
Hajiani proposed.
we will repeat it, please wait. So, in paragraph 37, after civil rights, we will add fundamental freedoms. Is it right like that? Yes. Okay, so shall now vote for this oral amendment. Who is in favor, raise your card. Who is against? Abstentions? So we were voting for oral amendment. There were 45 votes in favor with it, 0 votes against, and 1 was abstentions. So this oral amendment is adopted. Just now we will vote for whole amendment with. So as I was said, we needed to vote for whole this amendment because it was preempted. Yeah. So just now we will go to the amendment number 23. I call Ms. Narushova from Russian Federation to propose amendment number 23. The floor is yours.
Вместо Нарусовой выступлю я, Корниенко Алексей Викторович, Российская Федерация. Уважаемая госпожа председатель, своей поправкой мы предлагаем обеспечивать права инвалидов не только в политической, но и в экономической, общественной и культурной жизни, потому что права инвалидов сводятся не только к политическим аспектам. Предлагаем поддержать нашу поправку. Спасибо.
Thank you. Does anyone wish to speak against the amendment number 23? No. What is Mr. Hajiani's opinion? Please tell us.
Thank you very much for the amendment. It is right. I am in favor of this amendment.
Okay, I shall now put amendment number 23 to the vote. Who is in favor? Please raise your cards. Who is against? Against, please. Abstentions? No. So I will read the results. In favor were 46 votes, 1 against, 0 abstentions. Amendment number 23 is adopted. We will continue with amendments 24 and 25. Amendments 24 and 25 relate to election observation. I will therefore group the amendments together for discussion as allowed for under Rule 22nd, 22nd, yes, of the Rules of Procedure. I call Mr. Tsereteli from Georgia to speak to amendments 24 and 25. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I think it's a right decision to combine those two amendments and discuss it together. It's about, as you mentioned, it's about our election observation missions. And with this amendment, with the first, we'd like to stress that there are a growing number of different organizations and also individuals working in the field of observation. And that we would like to say very firmly that they should work in a transparent manner, and also to try to avoid any conflicts of interest, and to say also that their activities, it's not a substitution for the work of the Parliamentary Assembly and our colleagues in observation missions. This is the first one, and then second one is also about observation cooperation and the missions with ODIHR, and to emphasize that the expertise and analytical capabilities and expert capabilities and technical capabilities of the OSCE ODIHR, so complements to the political expertise of our assembly, and the cooperation between those two institutions are welcome, and it's very important for the legitimacy of this work. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your opinion, and I would like to ask, does anyone wish to speak against? Russian Federation, please, the floor is yours.
Корниенко Алексей, Российская Федерация. Изначально мы планировали поддержать поправку 25 в целом, но не могли поддержать 24-ю поправку в связи с упоминанием признанной методологии. Могу напомнить, что методология БДИЧ, она не согласована с многими участниками ОБСЕ, поэтому наша делегация будет голосовать против данной поправки. Спасибо.
Thank you for your opinion, and I would like to ask Mr. Hajianis, as a rapporteur, of his opinion.
I agree with both of them, also for 24 and 25, and it's much better written than the initial text.
Thank you for your opinion, and I shall now put amendments 24 and 25 to vote in turn. So, the first we will vote for amendment number 24. Who is in favor, please raise your card. Who is against, please raise your card. Abstentions, please. These are results. There are 42 votes in favor, 4 against, 0 abstentions. Amendment number 24 is adopted. Now we will vote for amendment number 25. So, who is in favor? Please raise your card. We are voting for amendment number 25. Against? Abstentions? So I will read the results. We were voting for amendment number 25. The results are 42 for this, in favor with this amendment, 3 against, 0 abstentions. So amendment number 25 is adopted. Now we will continue with amendment number 26. I call Ms. Barnett from Germany to propose amendment number 26. The floor is yours.
Nein, ich bin nicht Frau Barnett, Trubinski weiß. Ich vertrete hier Frau Barnett. Vielen Dank für das Wort, Frau Präsidentin. Wir erarbeiten hier eine Resolution, in der es darum geht, tatsächlich auch die Menschenrechte für unterschiedliche Minderheiten zu gewährleisten. Uns fehlt jetzt tatsächlich hier in dieser Resolution das Recht derjenigen, der Menschen, die einer anderen sexuellen Orientierung oder einer anderen geschlechtlichen Identität angehören. Und diese werden in vielen Staaten, auch der OSCE, nach wie vor diskriminiert, das heißt benachteiligt, teilweise verfolgt. Und deshalb bitten wir darum, auch diese Gruppe, diese Minderheiten aufzunehmen und bitten alle darum, tatsächlich nach dem Abschnitt, nach dem Paragraphen 43, diesen neuen Paragraphen, wie er hier formuliert ist, aufzunehmen, um tatsächlich auch deutlich zu machen, dass auch Menschen anderer sexueller Orientierung auch hier unter die Menschenrechte fallen. Vielen Dank.
Thank you, Mrs. Dobrinsky-Weiss, for substituting your colleague. And just now, I would like to ask if is anybody here who wants to speak against this amendment. Yes, Belgium?
It's not against, but I want to add something at the amendment of Germany, an extra letter, LGBTQI, because I think one group has been forgotten. Maybe I should explain. The I stands for intersex.
Yes. Wait a moment, please. Okay.
LGBT in many other places in the declaration. It's strange to change it one place and not elsewhere.
Okay. So okay. Do you want to something?
Yeah.
Yes, please.
May I ask my Belgian colleagues? We had informally agree about the what wording used for the in other part, in other texts, in other supplementary items. We just use LGBTQ. Sorry, LGTB, not Q, not I. Of course, it's not a way of not addressing the issue, but it's just for having the same words in all documents in the conference. We could try to add Q or I, but we have tried to review other documents, and there is a lot of documents quoting that wording. And then, if you agree, of course, I will be very clear. It's not excluding the intersex issue. It's just for having the same wording in all documents. There are a lot of quotes on LGTB.
Do you want to react?
Yes, I understand that will be a lot of work, but I would appreciate if OSCE would take this effort to change the word. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, can I accept it? I'm asking you, can I accept it as an oral amendment? Yes? Okay.
Can I ask a question? For those of us that are maybe a little more senior, would you explain what I is? I'm into we.
Yeah, our colleagues from Belgium did, but please do it again if you want.
Belgium colleagues, please explain
yes.
it.
These are people who are not very clear about their sexual, bisexual being, gender being.
Our colleague from Belgium explained there is an oral amendment to add the word "I" as for intersex, and we are trying to arrange the issue in the draft commission. Okay, no problem with the content. Then there is an oral amendment who has to be put to the vote.
So just now we will continue in our work. If I have accepted this as an oral amendment, is anybody here who has objections against this?
Madam Chairperson, can I speak not against but in favour? If we're to stand for anything as an assembly, then what the motion and the oral amendment by Belgium recognises the importance of all of us as people. And rather than using the drafting or the documentation to be changed in general,
yes,
then there is a need for us as a body to be affirmative to LGBTQI people. And if we stand for equality and diversity and inclusion, then by virtue of our voting here today, we must stand with people. And emerging from today, there needs to be a stronger emphasis on equality and diversity. And I think the Belgian delegation's motion to the amendment deserves to be supported.
Okay, so we will vote for this oral amendment. Who is in favor to add after this abbreviation LGBTQ, the letter I? Please raise your cards. In favor, yes. Just now we are voting who is in favor with this addition. Who is against, please raise your cards. Thank you. Any abstentions, please? Okay. So we have results now. We were voting about oral amendment. So we had 28 votes in favor, 17 against, 4 abstentions. So this oral amendment is adopted. Just now we will vote for whole amendment number 26. Please, who is in favor of this oral amendment? Raise your cards. Who is against? Please raise your cards. And abstentions, please. Okay, here are results. There are 29 votes in favor, 15 against, 5 abstentions. This amendment number 26 is adopted. We will continue with amendment number 27. I call Mr. Pirstuk from Belarus to propose amendment number 27. The floor is yours.
Госпожа председатель, вместо господина Пирштука буду выступать я, Ольга Попко. Наша организация играет важную роль и весьма полезную в содействии государствам-участникам в выполнении обязательств во всех 3 измерениях организации. Но в то же время мандат нашей организации, ее институтов, в частности БДИЧ ОБСЕ, не предусматривает какого-либо мониторинга выполнения обязательств. На наш взгляд, мониторинг является исключительно национальной прерогативой. В этой связи мы предлагаем соответствующим образом скорректировать данный параграф. Спасибо.
Thank you very much. Thank you for substituting Mr. Pirstuk. And just now, I would like to ask somebody or anybody, is anybody here who wants to speak against amendment number 27? The Slovak Republic, the floor is yours.
I would like to say that it's just our duty to monitor all this that is mentioned. And the weakness of our organization is in the fact that we are observing the elections, but there are no real conclusions, because here are countries which electoral procedures, syndicates, are not in accordance with Copenhagen rules. And that's why we are a weak organization.
Thank you for your opinion. And just now, I would like to ask Mr. Hadjianis for his opinion of this amendment.
I cannot agree with this amendment, which weakens the initial paragraph regarding the aim of making the OSCE more relevant and empowering this organization to assure respect of its fundamental principles.
Thank you for your opinion. I shall now put Amendment 27 to the vote. Who is in favor with this amendment? Please raise your cards. Who is against this? Please raise your cards. Abstentions, please. So here are the results. There were 7 votes in favor with this amendment, 35 against, and 3 abstentions. So this amendment number 27 is defeated. We will continue with amendment number 28. I call Mr. Dobre from Romania to propose amendment number 28. The floor is yours.
Thank you. Our amendment, it's motivated because he's reflecting the OSCE assets, while the second adjustment is used for purpose of realizing a wider reference. It's the same like the precedent amendment.
I think that we will finish with this.
When guaranteeing human rights and fundamental freedoms for all.
Thank you for your presentation of your amendment. And just now, I would like to ask if is anyone here who wants to wish to speak against this amendment number 28? Miss Russian Federation, yeah, please.
Корниенко, Российская Федерация. Мы выступаем за укрепление сотрудничества ОБСЕ со средиземноморскими партнерами ОБСЕ, но не можем согласиться с автономными институтами ОБСЕ, в том числе БДИЧ, которые подотчетны государственным участникам ОБСЕ и директивным органам. Спасибо.
Thank you for your opinion. And just now I would like to ask Mr. Hadjianis for his opinion.
I would rather keep the original text regarding the word autonomous before the institutions. Yet I agree with the second part of the amendment, that is to replace civil rights anyway included in human rights with fundamental freedoms, whose violations are a matter of serious concern in the highly sensitive region. I therefore ask for your consensus regarding this change, that is to reject autonomous and accept fundamental freedoms.
So can I accept it as an oral amendment? Jenny, can I accept it? Yes. So is anybody here who is against this oral amendment? Is that objection of it? No. So is anybody here who wants to speak against? No. So shall we start to vote for this oral amendment? Would you be so kind and can you confirm what is the content of this oral amendment? Can you read it, please?
to reject autonomous and accept fundamental freedoms.
Okay.
So the first part reject and the second is accepted. Fundamental freedoms will remain, autonomous don't accept.
So once again, please, would you be so kind and clearly tell us what we are voting for?
So I agree with the second part of the amendment, that is to replace civil rights, anyway included in human rights, with fundamental freedoms, whose violation are a matter of serious concern in this highly sensitive region. I therefore ask for your consensus regarding this change, that is to reject autonomous and accept fundamental freedoms. Autonomous.
Can I ask for clarification?
Yeah.
Can you read the paragraph, please?
Please.
Yes, wait a moment, he will do it.
Invite the OSCE Mediterranean partners for cooperation to seek greater engagement with OSCE institutions. Particularly the Office for Democratic Institutions and Human Rights, to benefit from their expertise in developing political institutions and processes and guarantee human rights and fundamental freedoms for all.
So we will only delete one word from this. Is anybody here? Is everybody here who everybody understands what we will be voting for?
I would suggest that we keep civil rights in there.
Civil rights.
That we add fundamental freedoms, but keep civil rights. I think it's important to keep that there.
Autonomous, I don't want to have it.
Developing political institutions processing. It is the second, yeah. So, I will accept it as two oral amendments. One is to delete the word autonomous from this amendment number 28. So we start to vote for this, and then we will discuss about the second oral amendment. Do you agree with that? Okay. So just now we start to vote for oral amendment 28, which is deleting the word autonomous. So please, who is in favor, raise your card. Who is against, please raise your card. Abstentions. So, one abstention. Two. So these are results. 31 is in favor of this oral amendment. 1 is against, 2 are abstentions. So this oral amendment is adopted. Now we will speak about the second oral amendment. I would like to ask our colleague to tell us once more what is her oral amendment. Please repeat it for us.
It would be that we, hang on here, to benefit from their expertise in developing political institutions and processes and guaranteeing human and civil rights and fundamental freedoms for all.
Human and civil rights. So, as I understand well, we are adding into the text of Amendment 28 the word and civil rights in the text. Are there any objections against this oral amendment?
It's not that we are against it, but normally the human rights also included civil rights. So maybe it's I don't. I'm not against it. So if you want to put the emphasis on it, do it. But normally it includes the civil rights.
Thank you for your opinion. I don't accept it as it is against, so I start to vote of this oral amendment. Or is there anybody against? The United States, please.
Once again, I would not be against. There's a term in the NBA, no harm, no foul. So when it's a no harm, no foul, we should adopt it. So I'm in favor of the pirate amendment.
Thank you. And just now we start to vote. So once again, we are voting for second oral amendment to amendment number 28. We are adding the word into the text and guaranteeing human and civil rights and fundamental freedoms for all. It is in the end of this amendment. Who is in favor, please raise your card. Who is against, please raise your card. Abstentions? So here are results. 33 votes were in favor, 0 against, and 3 abstentions. So the second amendment to amendment 20, oral amendment to amendment 28 is adopted. And just now, we will just vote on the entire amendment. Just now we will vote for all entire amendment. So please, who is in favor to adopt this amendment 28 as it was done?
Sorry, можно попросить зачитать эту поправку в целом, полностью? Как она будет звучать? Со всеми устными поправками.
Yes, I will read it once more. We are voting for Amendment 28, which means replace paragraph 46 with the following new paragraph. Invites the OSCE Mediterranean partners for cooperation to seek greater engagement with OSCE institutions, particularly the Office for Democratic Institutions and Human Rights, in order to benefit from their expertise in developing political institutions and processes and guaranteeing human and civil rights and fundamental freedoms for all. It is the whole text which are just now voting. Can we start to vote once again? Is it clear? Okay, so please, once again, who is in favor for this paragraph as I read, raise your card. Who is against, raise your card. And abstentions? The results are 39 votes are in favor, 0 against, 1 abstentions. The whole paragraph as I read, the whole amendment as I read, number 28, is adopted. Dear colleagues, I think that okay, there is the only one amendment. We should continue a little bit more. Please, I would like to finish this work, so I would like to call Mr. Hastings from United States to propose amendment number 29.
Mr. Hultgren, on behalf of Mr. Hastings, will present the amendment. In fulfilling their commitments to supporting regional security and respecting human rights and fundamental freedoms, OSCE participating states should be deeply invested in the future of the Mediterranean region. Since the Arab Spring, Tunisia has navigated a difficult but remarkable democratic transition that needs support if it is to succeed in the long term. Morocco and Jordan also took notable steps to advance political reforms. Libya is suffering from the consequences of decades of criminal misrule, but Libyan leaders who envisioned a democratic path towards unity and security need encouragement. Participating states should support positive democratic developments as long-term investments towards a safer, freer, and more prosperous region. Part of securing Tunisia's democratic future involves guaranteeing the security of the Tunisian people. These are the kinds of investments we need to ensure a brighter future for the people of the Middle East and of North Africa.
Thank you very much for substituting Mr. Hastings and presenting this amendment. Does anyone want to speak against this amendment number 29? No? What is Mr. Hajiani's opinion?
I am in favor.
Okay, I shall now start or put amendment number 29 to the vote. Who is in favor, please raise your card. Thank you. Who is against? Abstentions, please. Abstentions, please. 0. The results are, there are 37 votes in favor, 6 against, 0 abstentions. So amendment number 29 is adopted. I know that the time is over, but please be patient. I would like to finish our draft resolution. So we just now finish the consideration of amendments. Thank you for all these amendments, and I propose that we now formally move to a vote on draft resolution as amended. Who is in favor with this resolution? Please raise your card. Against? Who is against? Please raise your card. Abstentions, please. So here are the results. We were voting for draft resolution as amended. There were 41 votes in favor, 3 against, 0 abstentions. So the resolution was adopted. Thank you very much. And thank you for fruitful cooperation this morning, and I hope that you will have very nice lunchtime.
Colleagues, we are meeting at 16:30 for the supplementary items. See you.